How to take care of my constant distraction, either by media or some thoughts, even while listening to meditation or non dual teachings. I used to devour all the teachings earlier, which made way for some openings and understanding, but now something else is keeping my attention out. How to address it? Your pointers and meditations are really helpful, which covers multiple areas of my experience. Have you become too interested? Right? Because if we're what is keeping your attention out? It is worth looking at. Does it consist of one of the eight concerns, one of the eight worldly concerns? Either the desire to gain or the fear of loss, desire for pleasure, fear of pain, desire for praise, fear of blame, desire for prestige, and fear of disgrace. So if you have any input, let me know. What would you say is the main thing keeping your attention out? You say it's just a lack of focus sometimes. And one of the only solutions to that, obviously meditation, because sometimes we feel like once I'm able to focus, I'll be able to meditate, but it's actually the other way around. Only through meditation are we able to single or have a singular focus towards something, even towards self-discovery. Otherwise, we remain scattered. But the other is being so unified in what we value. So oftentimes, especially when we just are going into the deeper teaching, our interest is still so scattered. We are interested in the many cravings and resistances, which keep us, in the experience pursuit. And we're now discovering spirituality, the deeper teaching. So we still are like, both. I want both. Or if anything, there's more of a craving for experience. And so this must be clarified as almost like, obviously the experience is there, and my work is there, and everything is there, and you do that to your best of your ability. But your main like purpose, your main objective, or the main thing that you care about is wanting to understand yourself, self-discovery. If that's the case, then I don't know how it could be clouded by what's happening or what the events of life are. Because when this becomes your main thing, then your career, your relationship, your health, your personal life, all of it just becomes spiritual practice. Because, sometimes we have a false idea of spiritual practice. I know I did, which was like, you have to retreat and live by yourself, maybe, if you really want to go intensely at it, and you have to renounce the world. But what I'm finding now is that family life, family problems, relationship stuff, work, this is the biggest spiritual practice. So if self-discovery isn't the main purpose, then these things just become avenues through which we are trying to gain or not lose. We're just trying to gain our our goal. We're trying to have this it becomes about this stuff. But then if this is our main thing, then the very distractions become the spiritual practice. It might be like on difficulty level expert, maybe, you have to go into it, but that's just, you have to just go with what is in your experience. For everybody, we live in all different parts of the world. We have different themes in life. We have different things going on. Whatever that is your relevant spiritual practice. And so sometimes we say, if this person wasn't in my life, I would be more focused and I would be more happy because they're very negative. But that person is your spiritual practice. If it is your partner who's always reacting or getting mad, that is your spiritual practice. If it's your work and you try so hard but you're not able to succeed or get what you want, that is your spiritual practice. So the very things distracting you, make that the very spiritual practice. And truly challenge this idea, be free of this idea that a spiritual life or going within looks like something different other than living a normal life. Living a normal life, going through the ups and downs, the good and bad, is the spiritual life. But one who is in craving and resistance goes through it considering it to be the ultimate reality and deeply suffering through it. One who makes that the spiritual practice, the unraveling of the mind, of all the mental impressions, that one always has the ultimate purpose in mind. That one does not react. I mean, don't hold yourself to those standards. Like if you react, that itself is your spiritual practice. Don't react to your reactions. That's what I mean. So there's no this that path is just as normal as the other one, yet free of the entanglement and the further entanglement and the suffering. And so that attitude will greatly help you. Again, just become unified in your purpose. What is it that you value? If it is material pursuit that you value, then go really, one pointed at that, because that also will reveal to you something that is going to be your spiritual practice. All life in this way is just avenues for this understanding. Even the one who is just running after money or relationship completely, and they don't know anything about spirituality. Even they are actually just in their spiritual practice without knowing it. So always know you are exactly where you need to be. This experience has within it the seed for the spiritual growth that you want, that you wish for. But you have to become receptive to that. If you stay in the story of it, all that will happen is entanglement. And the not only the lesson, but the subtle growth, the detachment, the wisdom will remain veiled. And so truly that's the whole teaching also of the path of bhakti, which means look at everything as God. Look at everything as that one principle, as the self. And in this way, your enemy or your reactive friends or your family member or your financial situation or your health situation, all of it is the self. And therefore, it is your spiritual practice. See it as a projection of the self, the unraveling of the mind, the purification process of mind. Go through it. Let me actually read you a quote that's very, very relevant to this. And it's actually been the background of my phone for a while. Haven't read it in a long time though. But okay, some of my apps are covering it, so I might read it slow. It says, go through it without resistance. So go through it without resistance, facing tasks as they come, attentive and thorough in both small things and big. Have the general attitude of affectionate detachment, enormous goodwill, without any expectation of return, constantly giving without asking. In marriage or in any other relationship, you are neither the husband or the wife, neither a son or a daughter, neither this or that. You are the love between the two. You are the clarity and kindness that makes everything orderly and happy. Notice again the love, the clarity. These aren't things you can point at. See what this is pointing you to. Over time, you will find that the mystical is the most practical, for it makes your life creatively happy. Your consciousness will be raised to a higher dimension from which you see things much more clearly and with greater intensity. So, right, the living life on the surface, just in the story, is just entanglement and suffering. You may live the exact same life, exact same situations, but go through that. Like, if this is your attitude, then it's the purification process of mind and this understanding developing through the very things that someone else would call an obstacle, or perhaps you at a different time would call an obstacle. So, all is the self, all is your spiritual practice. So, this attitude really also cultivates this a certain humility. And yes, Elizabeth, I'll definitely post that in the group, the quote. It creates a certain humility within you. Then, when someone says something to you, you could care less being involved with that, or what motive this person had, and why this person is doing this and what to do to get how to get them back. You're playing a whole different game. You're no longer playing with the individuals in your experience. You are playing as the self, as the reality in which these things appear. So that is also itself another, conviction to have. Don't play as a person wanting to become that. Be that already, as I said to Darshan, right? That which is aware of awareness itself, which is invisible, that you already are. Be that. Knowingly be that. This is the main pointer. And let the rest unfold. Such a one has no concern. So concerns arise, turn away. Be that. Acknowledge that knowingly as you abide as what you are, rather than operating under the idea of who you are, knowingly being that which is aware, you are free of concern. Concern is only for the personal identity, for the mind. The mind is creating the concerns, the mind is suffering the mind's concerns. The mind is a web. You battle, you kind of, like you struggle, you will get entangled. You have to turn away. Not towards ignorance, towards neglect, denial. No, just towards yourself. And as the at the end of the quote it said, over time you will find that the mystical, the things that maybe let's say you're new to this program right now and you attended one of these calls just now, and you're like, this all sounds like too mystical or whatever. Over time, you will find that the mystical is the most practical, for it makes your life creatively happy, right? And your consciousness is raised to a higher dimensions from where you see things much more clearly, rather than from the little mental points of view. You see things from a subtle point of view, which maybe others like, they can't even comprehend. You tell them this, and then they're like, "How'd you even?" Or like, So, yes, I'll post this in the group, and I believe it'll be of great help to everybody. So your spiritual practice isn't just, when you sit down and meditate or when you're sitting down in inquiry. It is your career. It is the challenges in your career. It is your relationship, the challenges, and the good times too. Because the good times teach you not to cling to experience. The bad times teach you to not resist. Being free from clinging and resisting, you abide, rest as you are, and you are free of suffering. We must struggle, we must strive towards this. Fall in and out of this understanding. Let it be. It's fine. But this is the main thing, and it enriches your life like nothing else. Very happy that helped.